does this say to you guys that this head coach is no longer in control of this team?
Absolutely.
And why wouldn't they replace him now? If the Saints are replacing their head coach, why not just make the move now?
Because you're not saving your season by getting rid of Mike McCarthy.
But you're making a statement that you're not willing to give up.
He's also your play caller, though, too. He's calling the plays on offense. So you're now not just losing your head coach, you're losing your play caller on offense as well.
But what if you lose your players because you're not making a statement?
Then you should have signed him to a long-term deal. Then you should have extended him 1 year. And then instead of this all-in craziness, it's just absolutely beyond that you're going to I don't know how many did the Raiders ever have a guy go into his walk year as a head coach? And
I kind of think the answer is probably yes, but I don't remember.
Okay.
But let me ask you a question, Rich.
You're asking for it.
Okay, but here's my question. So you have three choices if you're Jerry.
Yes.
Jerry, Stephen, Charlotte, Jerry Jr., the decision makers.
Yes.
One, you let him play in his final year with no extension.
Which is what they did.
Which people would call a lame duck year. Two, you give him an extension, but then you're thinking to yourself, if I extend him for 1 year and I fire him after this year, am I willing to eat that salary? That's a question to consider.
You're making money hand over fist.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Okay, but that is a consideration some people would make.
Right.
Or three, do I sign him to a 2 year, but then I don't know that I necessarily want to eat that money, so I'm going to keep him for 2 years.
Or are you just sitting there waiting to see if maybe you bring Belichick in after all this other conversation? We talked about it with the Saints. Dallas has one more win than the Saints, so maybe in the back of his mind, he's thinking, I'm going to clean house and bring in Bill, and Bill's going to crack skulls and get things together.
He had that option last January.
But it seems like Jerry's uncharacteristically waffled on a lot of big decisions.
No, I think what Jerry's done, and I have the temerity, since he's one of the 32 or 33, including the commissioner at whose service I'm working at his pleasure pretty much right now, that he could not handle, grasp, process getting smoked by Green Bay in last year's playoffs, and had 24 to 72 hours to figure out, do I want to make a change at the head coaching position? Decided not to do that, and then at some point said, I'm not paying these guys until they can actually win a playoff game.
Well, you made a point, Rich. I'm sorry to interrupt, but you made a point when I said you could sign him for another year, but then if you want to fire him, you're going to eat that salary. And
how much is that? $8 million? It's the cost of what Derrick Henry would have been.
Well, and you're absolutely right.
I don't know.
On a relative basis, you're absolutely right. But that's the point. Some team owners, and I don't know where Jerry stands on this, but there's a huge revenue gap between the highest revenue clubs and the lowest revenue clubs. It's a huge gap.
Well, he's at the top end of that, isn't he?
But some owners don't want to eat sunk costs as much. And I don't know where Jerry falls on that. But some owners are loath to eat sunk costs.
There's two different ways. Since we're talking sliding doors, I feel like this is the sliding doors episode of What the Football. There's two ways this could have gone. The way Jerry handled it, or after it was over, saying, if I'm staying with McCarthy, if I'm not going to go, I don't want to go into the coaching pool. I don't want to start dating new people. I don't want to do that because I was sitting in there. I was sure we were going to beat Green Bay. I kind of love this team, and I love this coach. So the best way I'm going to go about this is I'm going to keep the coach. I'll extend him for a year because I cannot have him go into this season without the other year because there could be a problem. Hold on a second. And then the other aspect, what I would do is I know we needed the help in X, Y, and Z. I know we were losing to Green Bay for X, Y, and Z. I'm going to shore up X, Y, and Z in free agency. And in order to do that, I'm going to sign Dak and CD right now and make sure that I'm not going to have other people set the market. I know Tua's going to get a gig. I know Jordan Love's going to get a new contract, get a new contract. I know Trevor Lawrence is getting a new contract. I know Jared Goff is in line for a new contract. I am not going to let Shad Khan or Stephen Ross set the market for me with my guy. I'm going to sign him now. I'm going to make him more cap friendly for me now. And I'm going shopping in the free agent market to get one or two people because it's exactly what my quarterback needs, what my defense needs, what my offensive line needs. And I'm going to go into the draft and I'm going to go and hit that too. and then I'm going to hit the ground running, and we're going to run it back. And that's my concept of all in. And the other way, it's just, there's no other way to put it. It's just
all
weird.
All in was getting Derrick Henry. Ask TJ.
That's what I would think. But again, they think it wouldn't have worked or what have you. To me, though, all in, being a poker player, as you know, it's interesting that No Limit Hold'em is from Texas. So you'd think somebody from Texas would know an all-in strategy is to say, I've got everything here and I'm going all in, meaning I'm going to do every last thing possible to win this hand. Not saying I'm going to take all in, I'm going to shove all that I currently have right now, and not 100% if I lose the hand, say it's everything I got.
Check out new episodes of What the Football with Suzy Shuster and Amy Trask every Tuesday. Watch us on the Rich Eisen Show YouTube page or follow and listen wherever you get your podcasts.